There comes a point in your life where you realize not everybody who claps for you is really celebrating you. Some people clap because they want to keep you close enough to watch you, close enough to track your progress, close enough to study your every move, not so they can lift you up, but so they can know how to tear you down. And the truth is, God has a way of exposing those fake friends, those hidden motives, those people who smile in your face but are quietly hoping you fail. Sometimes when God exposes people in your life, it doesn't feel like protection at first. It feels like pain. It feels like betrayal. It feels like loss. You thought they were with you. You thought they were for you. And then suddenly the truth comes out. But hear me, exposure is not God trying to embarrass you. It is God stepping in to protect you. He pulls the covers back on what's been hidden, not to hurt you, but to save you from carrying the wrong people into the next chapter of your destiny. Think about it. How many times have you looked back over your life and said, Lord, thank you for not letting that relationship go any further. You didn't understand it then. You cried over it. You begged God to keep it together, but now you see it was His mercy that caused the truth to surface. God knows what you don't know. He sees what you cannot see. And when He exposes, it is always an act of divine love and protection. See, some people can look the part, talk the part, even act the part for a season, but their motives are not aligned with your purpose. They clap for you in public, but they compete with you in private. They say, I've got your back, but secretly they're hoping you'll stumble so they can step into your place. And if you're not careful, you'll carry them into places they were never ordained to go, and their hidden agenda will sabotage your blessing. That's why God says, I will reveal. That's why He shakes things up. That's why He allows moments that pull the mask off and show you the real heart behind the smile. Don't misinterpret exposure as rejection. It is not God punishing you. It is God protecting you. He will not allow you to invest years of your life building with people who were never committed to the building in the first place. He will not let you drag dead weight into a destiny that requires focus, clarity, and true alignment. Sometimes God says, before I take you higher, I've got to lighten your load. And here's the thing, you can't always see it on your own. Some of us are too trusting, too loyal, too willing to give the benefit of the doubt. That's why God Himself steps in. He allows situations to happen that expose motives, that reveal intentions, that show you clearly who is for you and who is against you. You might think it's just drama, but it's not drama. It's divine exposure. God is saying, I love you too much to let you go forward blind. When someone walks away, don't chase them. When the truth comes out, don't deny it. When motives are revealed, don't excuse it. God is answering a prayer you didn't even know you prayed. You asked Him to order your steps, and He's doing it by protecting your circle. You asked Him to bless you, and He's doing it by removing the people who would drain the blessing before you even received it. You asked him for strength, and he's giving it to you by exposing the ones who would weaken you. It may hurt when God exposes, but you've got to remember every exposure is a rescue. Every exposure is a redirection. Every exposure is an act of mercy that's shaping your future. You might not see it now, but in time you'll look back and say, God, you were saving me all along. So don't despise the exposure. Don't mourn what God is removing. Don't cling to what he's revealing as false. Stand still, lift your head, and know that the God who exposes is the same God who protects, the same God who provides, and the same God who prepares you for greater. The truth may sting, but it will set you free, and freedom is always a sign that God is at work. If God is exposing, it's because he's protecting, and if he's protecting, it's because he's preparing you for something greater. Saint, one of the most powerful truths you need to grasp is this: when God exposes hidden motives, he's not just showing you the truth about them, he's also revealing something about you. He's teaching you discernment. He's sharpening your spirit so you won't be fooled the next time. Exposure is not just about what he takes away, it's about what he builds within you. It is the training ground for wisdom. Some of you have been asking, why did I have to go through that betrayal? Why did I have to learn the hard way? But sometimes God allows those experiences so you can develop a spiritual radar. You begin to sense things you didn't sense before. You don't just listen to what people say. You watch what they do. You don't just accept words at face value. You pay attention to patterns. And all of a sudden, that painful exposure becomes the classroom where God teaches you how to discern. Discernment is not suspicion. Suspicion is rooted in fear. Discernment is rooted in truth. Suspicion makes you paranoid about everyone, but discernment allows you to see clearly. It equips you to love people without being blind to their intentions. It empowers you to forgive people without granting them access to places in your life they've not proven worthy to enter. When God exposes motives, he's saying, child, I need you to grow in discernment so you don't repeat this cycle over and over again. Now, let me tell you something. It takes maturity to accept what God reveals, because sometimes the truth will come wrapped in a face you love, in a person you trusted, in a relationship you thought was unshakable. That's where the real test comes in. Do you cling to your idea of them, or do you embrace God's revelation of them? When God says, this is who they really are, you've got to decide, will I trust my feelings, or will I trust God's unveiling? And I know that's not easy. Some of us don't want to let go. We'd rather live in the illusion of loyalty than face the reality of hidden motives. But let me warn you, ignoring what God reveals doesn't change the truth. It only delays the pain. If you don't deal with it now, it will show up later, bigger and heavier, because truth always rises to the surface. That's why God exposes it early, to spare you from devastation down the road. When he reveals, He's teaching you to trust his voice over your emotions. He's reminding you that people can wear masks, but he sees the heart. And when he whispers to you, pay attention. Don't dismiss it. When your spirit feels unsettled, don't ignore it. That uneasiness you feel is not paranoia. It's God's Spirit nudging you to look deeper. Don't wave it away as overthinking. That's discernment at work. But here's the beauty of it. Once God starts sharpening your discernment, you won't just see fake friends, you'll also recognize true ones. You'll see who really claps when you win, who really prays when you're in need, who really sticks close when the road gets rough. God doesn't just expose the counterfeit, he highlights the authentic. He clears out the wrong so you can recognize and value the right. This is why every exposure is both a warning and a gift. It warns you of the danger, but gifts you with discernment. It protects your heart while training your spirit. And if you lean into it, you'll walk stronger, wiser, and more equipped to guard the promise God has placed in your life. So don't just thank God for showing you who they are. Thank him for showing you who you are becoming. Thank him for giving you eyes to see, ears to hear, and a spirit that discerns truth from lies. Because the truth is this: discernment is not just about survival, it's about destiny. And when God sharpens your discernment through exposure, he's making sure you'll never again be trapped, tricked, or tied down by hidden motives that were sent to destroy you. When God exposes, it's not to break you, it's to build you into someone wiser, stronger, and unshakable in the face of deception. There comes a point in your life where you realize that God does not expose without a reason. When he pulls the curtain back on fake friends and hidden motives, it is never random. There is purpose in the revelation. It is not just about showing you the darkness in someone else. It is about protecting the light he placed in you. You are carrying something valuable, something divine, something connected to your destiny, and God knows that not everyone who smiles in your face can be trusted with it. Sometimes you can't see it because you're blinded by loyalty, history, or emotion. You've been through so much with them that you assume their place in your life is permanent. But God is not sentimental. God is strategic. He will remove whoever threatens the promise he has planted in you. And when he does, it might hurt, but it will also heal you. Because had they stayed, they would have sabotaged what he's building. Think about Joseph. His brothers pretended to care for him, but their motives were rooted in jealousy. If God had allowed them to stay close to him, Joseph would have never made it to the palace. He had to be betrayed, sold, and separated so that what God placed inside him could survive and grow. The exposure of their motives was not to destroy Joseph. It was to position him. And the same is true for you. When God shows you who's not for you, he's setting you up for where he's taking you. Some of you are still crying over who walked away. You're still grieving over who didn't clap for you. But hear this, rejection is often God's redirection. He's saying, I love you too much to let you attach yourself to someone who will poison your future. You see, hidden motives are dangerous because they look like love but operate like leeches. They drain you while pretending to support you. They smile in your face while secretly resenting your progress. They hug you while silently plotting your fall. But when God exposes them, He's saying, you've been praying for protection, and this is how I answer. Protection doesn't always come as a shield. Sometimes it comes as separation. God will cut ties you never had the strength to cut yourself. He'll end connections you were too blind to end. He'll pull people out of your life because their hidden motives would have sabotaged your assignment. And yes, it hurts. Exposure always stings because it shatters the image you built in your mind. But remember this, you cannot get to your promise dragging Judas with you. You cannot carry destiny while holding on to Delilah. You cannot step into the fullness of who you are called to be while entertaining those who secretly hope you fail. Exposure is painful, but it's also merciful. It saves you from giving sacred parts of yourself to people who were never meant to carry them. I know it feels like loss, but it's actually gain, because every time God removes the wrong one, He clears space for the right one. Every time He exposes a fake friend, He makes room for a true ally. Every time He unveils hidden motives, He positions you to walk lighter, freer, and wiser. And if you'll stop fighting the exposure, you'll start to see the protection. God is saying, trust me with what I reveal. Don't go back trying to fix it. Don't try to make excuses for them. Don't try to explain away what I've uncovered. Believe me when I show you. Because the truth is, exposure is God's way of answering your prayer for clarity. You asked Him for direction, and He gave you discernment. You asked Him to bless your path, and He cleared it of snakes. You asked Him for favor, and He removed those who would have poisoned it. So the next time God exposes someone's hidden motives, don't call it betrayal. Call it a blessing. Don't call it the end. Call it the beginning. Don't call it loss. Call it protection. Because every exposure is God's way of preserving your promise, shielding your destiny, and proving that what He has for you cannot be stopped by hidden agendas. When God begins to separate you from certain people, it doesn't always look like a blessing at first. In fact, most times it feels like rejection. It feels like abandonment. It feels like you're being left behind or stripped of the people you thought you needed the most. But what you have to realize is that separation is often God's way of preparing you. He is not punishing you, He is pruning you. He's cutting back what you thought you needed so that you can grow into what He called you to be. Think about the gardener who looks at a tree. At first glance, the branches look healthy, full, and beautiful. But the gardener knows some of those branches are weighing the tree down, draining the nutrients, blocking the sunlight. So what does he do? He prunes, he cuts. And if you don't understand pruning, it feels like loss. It feels like destruction. But in reality, it's preparation, because only after the pruning can the tree produce fruit in its season. And that's what God is doing in your life. He is preparing you to produce by removing what no longer belongs. Some of you are grieving people who walked out, not realizing that God was answering a prayer you forgot you prayed. You asked him to take you higher, and he started removing the weights. You asked him to enlarge your territory, and he started pulling away the people who couldn't handle the increase. You asked him to reveal your purpose, and he started showing you who wasn't part of it. It's not rejection, it's divine preparation. Look at Abraham. God told him to leave his family, his country, and everything familiar, because the promise was not where he was. It was where God was sending him. But if Abraham had clung to what was comfortable, he would have missed the covenant. And some of you are trying to carry people into your future who don't have the capacity to walk with you. You're trying to keep relationships alive that are choking the destiny out of you. But God says, I need to separate you so I can prepare you. And preparation doesn't always feel good. It's lonely. It's quiet. It feels like you've been stripped of support. But sometimes God has to strip you of counterfeits so you'll finally recognize the real. He has to take away the wrong voices so you can hear his voice clearly. He has to cut away the wrong people so he can align you with the right ones. The separation is not about them, it's about you. It's about the destiny he's pulling out of you. Don't confuse subtraction with loss. Sometimes when God subtracts, he's really multiplying. He's setting you up to walk lighter so you can run faster. He's making room for relationships will fuel you instead of drain you, for connections that will sharpen you instead of sabotage you. He's preparing you to step into a season of elevation, and elevation always requires separation. The higher the airplane goes, the less weight it can carry. And the higher God takes you, the fewer people you can bring along. So stop crying over who left. Stop begging people to stay when God has already released them. Stop holding on to what he's cutting off. Trust the process of separation, because the truth is you will never step into the fullness of your promise if you keep clinging to what he already pruned away. I know it hurts, but it's necessary. I know it feels like you're losing, but you're actually gaining. You're gaining clarity. You're gaining strength. You're gaining alignment, because God doesn't separate without preparing, and he doesn't prune without a promise. So when he takes them out of your circle, don't call it rejection, call it preparation. Because separation is the evidence that God is getting you ready for the next level. One of the greatest gifts God gives us in this process of exposing fake friends and hidden motives is discernment. Discernment is not suspicion. Suspicion is rooted in fear and insecurity, but discernment is rooted in the Spirit of God. Suspicion will make you paranoid, looking for faults in everyone and trusting no one. But discernment is the gentle nudge, the inner knowing, the spiritual radar that reveals the difference between what looks good and what truly is good. And when God is exposing hidden motives, he sharpens that discernment in you so that you're no longer fooled by surface appearances. Because the truth is, not everybody clapping for you is really happy for you. Not everyone walking beside you is really walking with you. Some people are attracted to your light, but they don't carry light themselves. They're just trying to use yours to find their way. That's why discernment is critical. Without it, you will keep mistaking leeches for lifelines, burdens for blessings, and parasites for partners. But when the Spirit of God sharpens your discernment, you start to recognize patterns. You start to see beyond the smile, beyond the handshake, beyond the "I got your back" speech. You hear what isn't being said. You feel what isn't being shown. That's discernment. Jesus himself demonstrated this. He had crowds follow him everywhere, but he knew the difference between the curious, the hungry, the critical, and the committed. He knew Judas would betray him, and yet he still let Judas sit at the table. Why? Because discernment doesn't always remove people immediately, but it prepares you so you're not blindsided when the truth is revealed. Discernment says, I see you, I recognize your role, and I won't let your hidden motives derail my assignment. Some of you have been hurt deeply because you trusted someone who turned out to be the very one working against you. And the pain of that betrayal made you want to shut down completely. But here's what you need to understand. God will use even betrayal to build your discernment. He will allow you to go through the sting so that the next time your spirit catches what your eyes can't see. Every lesson you've learned from broken trust, every tear you've cried from hidden motives being revealed, it's all sharpening your ability to discern. And discernment is not just for relationships, it's for opportunities, for decisions, for seasons of life. The enemy will always disguise himself. He doesn't show up with horns and a pitchfork. He shows up looking like what you thought you wanted. He shows up with flattery, with promises, with fake loyalty. But when your spirit is tuned in to God, you can sense the counterfeit before it consumes you. That's why the Bible says to test every spirit. Don't just test what you see, test the motive, test the fruit, test the consistency. If their words sound good, but their fruit is rotten, that's your discernment talking. If their presence drains you instead of strengthens you, that's your discernment speaking. If you feel uneasy, even though everything looks right, that's not paranoia. That's the Spirit warning you. And the beautiful thing is this: God doesn't just give discernment to protect you from fake friends. He gives it to prepare you for true ones. Because once you recognize the counterfeit, you can also recognize the authentic. Once you learn the language of manipulation, you'll recognize the sound of sincerity. Once you've been burned by the wrong people, you'll appreciate the gift of the right people. Discernment makes you wiser, sharper, stronger. It's not just protection, it's preparation for destiny relationships. So don't despise the moments when God pulls the cover off hidden motives. Don't despise the times when you feel a check in your spirit, even if you can't explain it to others. Trust it, lean into it, because discernment will keep you from repeating cycles that were designed to destroy you. It will keep you from investing your time, your heart, your energy into people who were never meant to carry it. And it will help you steward your relationships with wisdom, not just emotion. When God sharpens your discernment, don't ignore it, because discernment is not just the difference between good and evil. It's the difference between life and death, between destiny and distraction, between being drained and being delivered. Sometimes when God exposes fake friends and hidden motives, it's not just to show you who they are, it's to show you who you are. Because there's something about betrayal, something about deception, something about walking through the sting of people's hidden agendas that forces you to grow into a deeper version of yourself. When God reveals what was really going on behind the scenes, it doesn't just protect you, it matures you. It develops you, it strengthens you. Think about it. Every time you've gone through a season where someone you trusted turned out to be a Judas, you didn't just learn about them, you learned about you. You discovered how resilient you were. You discovered that you could survive without the people you thought you couldn't live without. You found out that your value doesn't decrease just because someone failed to recognize it. You realize that even when people walk away, God never does. That kind of lesson doesn't come from textbooks, it comes from experience. It comes from wounds that turn into wisdom. And here's the beauty of it: God will let people reveal themselves so that you can be released from depending on them in ways you were never meant to. Sometimes the reason He exposes hidden motives is because you built your trust too much on man, and He needed to shift it back onto Him. Sometimes He removes the mask from people because He knows that if they had stayed longer in disguise, you would have leaned on them more than on His strength. He's not just exposing them, He's positioning you. He's pulling away the false support so that you can stand on the true foundation. We often pray for God to elevate us, but what we don't realize is elevation requires separation. You can't go higher and carry everybody with you, especially those who were never meant to be part of your next levels. So when God reveals fake friends, when He uncovers hidden motives, He's not being cruel, He's being kind. He's saying, I can't let you take this person with you because where I'm taking you, their motive will poison it. Their envy will sabotage it. Their hidden agenda will corrupt it. What feels like rejection is actually redirection. What feels like loss is actually protection. And let's be real, sometimes it hurts. Sometimes the exposure shatters you. Sometimes you look back and think, how did I not see it? How could I have been so blind? But that's when God whispers, I let it come to light, not to shame you, but to free you. Because once the mask is off, you no longer waste time investing in something that was never real. Once the truth is revealed, you can stop rehearsing lies and start living in clarity. And clarity is a gift because clarity restores your peace. It restores your confidence. It restores your focus. This is why you can't get stuck in bitterness. If you stay angry about who hurt you, you miss the lesson of why God exposed them. Exposure is not meant to make you vengeful. It's meant to make you wise. It's meant to shift your perspective so that instead of asking, why did they do this to me? You start asking, what is God building in me through this? Because every hidden motive revealed is also a mirror showing you the strength you didn't know you had. Every fake friend uncovered is a reminder that your destiny is too precious to be tied to people who can't carry it with pure hearts. So don't curse the exposure. Don't despise the revelation. Instead, thank God that He loves you enough to remove the disguise. Thank Him that He didn't let you keep walking blind. Thank Him that He showed you before it destroyed you, because what He's really doing is maturing you for your next season. He's stripping away everything false so you can embrace what's true. He's teaching you to trust Him above all else. And He's proving to you that even when people fail, His plan never will,